Hey everybody, we're back for lesson 1.4.1, which is on taking multi-view drawings and 3D models and sketching them in Fusion while staying accurate to dimension. In this example, we're going to look at how to take a multi-view drawing and turn it into a three-dimensional object. As a quick refresher of multi-view drawings, when we're looking at it, always in the bottom left-hand corner, you're going to have your front profile of your object. Your upper left-hand corner is going to be the top of the object. The bottom right-hand corner is going to be the right-hand side of the object. And then in the upper right-hand corner is going to be your isometric view, or that three-dimensional view of the object. That helps you understand how the three sides piece together. So when we go to take and start this multi-view drawing and sketch it into 3 dimensions, we're going to pick one of the sides to start our model with. Typically, we're always going to want to start modeling with the front side. So I'm going to take and I'm going to create a sketch. I'm going to select my plane, and I'm going to keep panning back and forth here so we can see the multi-view drawing and see our three-dimensional sketch as we build it. So I've got my sketch started. And I'm going to just do a rough sketch initially of this L-shaped front piece. So when I do the initial sketch, it does not need to be accurate to dimension. I'm just going to sketch out the basic shape, just using the line tool, making sure that I connect my initial line back to where I started. Now once we have it initially sketched out, I'm going to come and grab my sketch dimension tool, or hit D on my keyboard, and I'm going to start to add in those dimensions that are given by the multi-view drawing. So if I look here, I have the basically width of my L here and here is 2. So I'm going to go over to my multi-view drawing, or all over to my actual sketch rather, and I'm going to change my dimension there to 2. Same thing on this side. Change my dimension to 2. See, all the way from the left to the right-hand side, I have a dimension of 7. This means from here to here, I'm going to have a dimension of 7. And those are the 3 dimensions given to me by that front profile. Right, some of my other dimensions now are going to come from looking at the other 2 profiles. So now when I look at my front view, or my right-hand side view of my object, I see some more dimensions over here. And I see that the height of my object is 5 inches tall. That's going to allow me to add in one final dimension, which will be the height. This should be 5. Now that we have that piece fully dimensioned, noticing that we have full black lines all the way around the perimeter of the piece, now we can take and start to look at some of the more 3D elements of the design. Right, the first one I'm going to look at is going to be the depth of my piece. So I'm going to take and I'm going to extrude that L shape to a depth of 5. I'm going to take that from my right-hand side view, so I'm going to hit E on my keyboard. I'm going to extrude this to a depth of 5. And now we have moved into 3 dimensions. So now we have our 3-dimensional piece. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my multi-view drawing. And I'm going to start to use some of the other dimensions to help me piece together what I am seeing. So first thing I see is at the top of my L, I have this little cutout. And from my right-hand side profile, I can see that the bottom of that cutout is 4 inches from the bottom of the shape. I also see that on the left-hand side, and then also on the right-hand side, I have an inch. Basically, this little tab here and this little tab here are an inch in width. So I'm going to take I'm going to go over to my three-dimensional object here. I'm going to get to a good position where I can take and add in my rectangle. So I'm going to create a second sketch. And again, I'm just going to rough this out. I know it goes from the top over to here someplace. And I'm going to do basically some subtractive manufacturing here. So meaning I'm going to use this shape to cut away that little slot out of the top of my box. And I'm going to take and once again use my dimension tool. I know that this dimension here is 1 inch. I know that this dimension over here is also 1 inch. And I know that from the bottom of my shape to this point here is 4 inches. Right, now that I have that, I'm going to take and I'm going to extrude this rectangle back through my shape. I'll click OK to cut that out. So now I've got that little spot cut out of the top. I'm going to do a similar thing to take and cut this slot out of the bottom piece of my L. And to figure out the dimensions of that bottom piece, I'm going to look at my top view. I see that the back side of that bottom cutout is 4 inches from the back. I see it's 2 inches to the bottom side, 3 inches to the top side. So I'm going to come over to my view here, and I'm going to get where I can look down at the top. I'm going to create a sketch, and first I'm just going to roughly sketch with my line tool, and then I'll add in my dimensions. So my dimensions were 4 from the back, 2 to the bottom, 3 to the top. So that means with my dimension tool, we're going to add in a dimension here of 2 from the bottom, 3 to the top, and I'll go 4 to the back. So now if I look from the top, again my piece is fully dimensioned. I'm going to hit E to extrude, and I'm going to extrude this piece down through the bottom. I'll hit OK to make that cut. So now I have my fully dimensioned and sketched out three-dimensional object here.